Okay, today we go into chapter 2. We only have 1 hour. And we'll start to go into the model of product management model. So now we look at project management. Let's see we're able to finish all this by today. So there are some history about the project management. As early as 1940, we have somebody go into this research. So 1940s, there's a word called concept of over the fence. It just means that all the line manager, they have a head of a role. So line managers, they wear a head of a project manager. And then when the job completes, they will throw the head over the fence and let the other people take charge. Means that they use the concept over the fence management, means they only look after the project during a certain time. Once it completed, it hand over to other people, and the project manager or the individual no longer in charge of that. Okay, so over the fence is just throw over the roles after it's completed lah. Okay, in short, right? And wash hand, wash hand. So it's like not his business anymore. Okay. All right. So this over the fence have one problems. Because of this over the fence concept, because every time the project finish, the line manager means the function manager, like R&D manager, production manager. So every time the head arrive at the certain line manager, he lead the project. After the project done, the line manager throw the head to the new person after it's completed. Maybe at a certain phase he throw over. So the one of the drawback of this one is because the customers is the victim, where every time there's a problem, the customer call in, hey, why you suddenly change to a new contact person? Right? There's no contact or point for any inquiry about the project. So the people will always change in the concept of over the fence management. Okay. So the rest you read. Then this is 1940s, a very 1940s. Now it's like 2023, like 80 years, right? So as we go into the war era, 1950, 1960, World War I, World War II era, then countries start to look into their defense department. So at that time, US aerospace and defense industry, they start to apply project management so that they manage to produce weapon and machine for their country. Because over the head doesn't work, so they create a management method called project management to oversee the things. So early 90s, so 40s, 1940s is throw over the head, right? Throw over the fence. Then it go into product management. It start with informal method, So project manager at that time, you don't have a very important role. You just put your name there and then you just oversee, and you don't hold responsible for that. You're just an in charge person, a contact window for that, right? So most of the authority at that time was on the line manager, on the functional managers. So you stay at one department, okay, you go and in charge it. So that is the previous one. Okay. In this one, you need a good working relationship with the line managers. Formal communication were either unnecessary or handled uninformally, because that times they are dealing with the currency of relationship. Okay. So this situation also happened, although in 2023, it also happened in those small factory or small SME, where the project manager they use the good relationship to make sure the project success. Okay, so 1940s throw over the fence, 1950s, 1960s they go informal communication. Then 1970s, 80s they formalize the project management, because by the time of 1960, early 90s, 80s, they start industrial era already. Yeah, people, factory, lots of countries start to have this industrial revolution. So more and more project coming in after the war, country need to rebuild and so on. So the size and complexity of the projects is getting more and more severe. For example, NASA and Department of Defense, they strongly recommend that they need a proper project management. Right. So at that time, 70s to 80s, these two agencies, they force subcontractor to use project management models in their projects. So it means more documentation, more monitoring. Okay. So after the 1990s, right? All of you are born like 2000. Yeah. You are born in which year? 99. So this one 1990s are about your time. So that time, project management is no longer a choice, but it's a necessary. Right? You need to use project management. It's not how to implement, but how fast it can be done. It's shift from how into time, because that time, 1990s and then 20s, computers start to introduce, and then people, then McDonald's, all this come in. So people start to lose patience and want to make sure the project delivered as fast as possible, right? So there are a few life cycle phrases. This is a keyword, life cycle phrases. This question come out in the last semester, short semester final question, and half of the class, previous semester, half the class don't know how to answer. They give me another answer for another things. So life cycle phrases for organization, go through to implement project management. There is a project life cycle. Half of the class give this answer. Half the class give me project planning phrases. There's a project planning phrases in previous previous slides. Okay, so try to differentiate project management, life cycle phrases, maturity. Maturity have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 5 phrases is a different from the previous life cycle phrases. So this module is very sensitive on the wording that you use. Right? They look same, but actually they look quite similar, but they mean some different in the terms of project management. Okay, so be careful on that. These 5 phrases is embryonic phrases, means baby, before it form the small life cell, then you see the shape of the baby. That one, embryonic phrases. Then executive management acceptance phrases. Then it go into line management acceptance, growth, and maturity. So each one of it had their own process. This one, you go home and read and memorize. If this question come out in your coming test month, then we expect you to know how to write this whole table. Okay, your answer you can give exactly like what you see on the screen here. You just draw a table, give point, and then you get the marks. Or you can elaborate. You can write A, embryonic phase, and then you elaborate. No problem. You can either use this presentation form, or you can elaborate. It become paragraph. Okay. So this one, it can this one have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 points. So it will give you about 15 marks. One point is 3 marks. So one question is 25 marks. This table alone kill half of the question. So if you don't know, you answer wrong, means gone already lah. Means one question gone already. Okay. So be sensitive to the wording used. This is a life cycle for project management maturity. Okay. Then this one you read lah. Benefit of project management. This one you read. Past view and present view. Of course, the question will likely ask you about present view. So since you are taking project management, and you have more than like 10 points here. You have 12 points here. So memorize 3 to 4 points on the benefit of project management. Okay, I highly recommend you read this part. Okay, then memorize 3 or 4 out of that. Okay, if this kind of question come up, I will also brief you before the test or before the final exam. Okay, then you prepare lah. Okay, so again, this slide sometime will come out. Then when it comes to 2008, there's a market crash. So market crash, then it slowly bounce back, slow down, then a lot of projects cannot work and so on. So the question now becomes, how long will it take us to achieve this benefit? So on the left-hand side, your y-axis is money, or cost, or profit. X-axis is the time. So you have a few line here. So one is the cost of project management. So as you move, if you take more times, the cost management will raise up to an optimum time. Then the cost of the project management will drop to a constant cost. Because for example, you're building a house, the cost climbing because you're buying materials. So when you buy materials, after you build all the main structures, then because in the beginning, maybe you need a lot of workers because you want to rush the projects out, a lot of equipment. So once you reach the peak, then you start to reduce the number of workers because the structure, everything is there. The next one may be just a painting or installation of the aircon and all this. So the number of workers reduce and the cost also reduce. Maybe you don't need to buy things anymore. And some big company, you have a few projects running at the same time. You can share the same materials or same machine at the same time. So the cost will dropping. And then this one, maybe on the sales and marketing, you need a cost for that. So you have a constant right there. Okay. So there are some elaboration there lah. So this one you read from the slides. Okay. Pack, it means you camping. Pack, it means you mount the line of the camp and then you hit it. Pack means you station it. Pack means you station you station it. Right. So there's a question mark here. Is that it based on experience? We don't know where you will meet your maximum time, but through experience or through estimation, you should able to project when you need capital the most at a certain time. So this is just a very qualitative presentation. Okay. So this is so this solid line is a profit, and then this is a cost. So when cost and profit or profit margin meet, here is the is a cost equal or balance point for the projects. So it means after this point, profit increase, and then this one drop. When your cost drop, your profit increase, means you are making money already. Okay. All right. Now, this graph, I bring the example of Eco World Housing. Why their house they can make more profit, and they can build a more and more advanced or smart home, or more and more beautiful houses, because they already have the technologies. They already reached this stage already. So they already have the lowest cost, because all the equipment, all the slab, all the precast die, they already have already. They just need to fabricate it, do the same thing. Even the lawyer fees is fixed already. All the supplier, they already fixed already. So they managed to, and then once they have a very successful projects, you see if those Eco World project, the way they design the whole township is actually the same. The feeling is the same, and then the ecosystem around there is also same. The supermarket, the vendors, a few franchise will sure tag along with the projects. Okay, now this chart is important, that it will tell you how to differentiate project driven and non-project driven. Okay, this is like a Bible for project management. So project driven, the role of the project manager, PM, PM is project manager. They have a profit and loss. P&L means profit and loss responsibility. Means if the project lost, the first person get fired is project manager. Okay. Then project manager, they recognize as a profession. They are they recognize and they're given authority to do some decision. They have a multiple career path, means if you're project driven, after the project success, you are the next candidate to be more senior position person, right? Or you can be transferred to other entities or subsidiaries. Income come from the project. So these are the keywords where you can identify this is a project driven. Okay, so as long as the statement, it will give you a company so and so in this situation. It give you a name. For example, Mr. Chan was an employee in that. He was the executive for this project, and he need to always make sure that the project make profit. And the position was maybe the person was appointed as project manager, and he is a candidate for the next maybe director or something. Then that person focus mainly on the income from the project. So if the statement here means you are under project driven category, project management, that you focus on project driven project management. Then another side is the opposite of project driven. Okay, it's the opposite of project driven. Here you have a very few projects, and profitability you focus on production. So those are small factory, they produce maybe Nike shoes or what kind of sport equipment. So the profit from the production means that they are non-project driven. Okay. Then last brick wall means is a communication broke down. Means that you have to walk across the room to talk to another person. It's like there's a wall be side by side with another department. So you need to communicate well in the non-project driven. Project driven means they are focused very heavily on each department. Means finance, they only look at finance. R&D only look at R&D and so on. Then they have a long life cycle of products. They focus on products. They focus on products rather than the projects. So they're under non-projects driven. Then if this is a present, this is a past. So this one during the industrial area. So most of them will fall under non-project driven. Then it slowly shift from non-project into project driven through a process, a kind of project management called hybrid. Hybrid is a between the left hand side and right hand side. So hybrid, the keyword here is new product development. They are marketing oriented and they need rapid development process. So it's a intermediate between non-project and project driven. Okay. So if you see that the project manager, they have a more authority, the profit and loss was on that project manager, and income is from the project, then is a project driven. Okay. Here. Of what is here. Okay. Okay, so the rest you read is actually elaboration of what I'm talking about just now. So non-project, they through product and services, product services, they profit identified through marketing and sales. And project management in this firm will never view as profession. Means even though you are selected, you're holding project manager in a non-project driven industry, then or the owner of the company apply non-project driven product management, then you are just a staff inside the company. So again, review you have three. One is project management, one is program management, one is product development. Okay. Project on the left, product on the right. Hybrid is the program management. Okay. So I mean equivalent. If it's project driven, means it's a project management. Hybrid is a program management. Non-project driven is a product management. Okay, the rest you read. Hybrid, all this you read. Okay. So this is a change of from time to time. 60 to 90s, they are focusing on traditional. So more of them, they are doing R&D. After 90s to 2016, they are more into modern projects. They look into, of course, R&D, but they are focusing more on marketing, the entrance into marketing engineering. Okay. So second factor, acceptance of project management is economy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So economy, you can see that there's a recession, 1979, 1980s, 1989, and 1993. So there are recession. So you can see the first recession, the layoff is the blue collar. Blue collar means factory workers. R&D eliminated, they cut costs, no more R&D. They eliminate training, no more training. They focus on surviving mode. Right? So whatever can sell, they do. So solution sort is a very short term. Result of the recession is return to status quo, no project management support, no alliance. Second recession, lay off on the white collars, more on the management. Then R&D, they focus on the profession. Means what collar here is more on the office staff, admin staff, and then they give more focus on the professional, scientists, engineer, R&D, right? They give trainings, and then they sought for solution for long term. Okay. Okay, this is a revision. In project management, success, it means meeting what customer want or meeting customer expectation. Customer can be internal and external. Internal means internal company, department to department, right? For example, Proton have a different models. So one model can be supplying to another model cars, spare parts and so on. Okay. The rest you read, huh? So success of the project can be qualitatively illustrated by a diagram. So y-axis is cost, x-axis is time. Then there is one more dimension is quality or your project scope or specification. Okay. So if you have cost and time, success, if you and this is a quality. So let's say you define your success is within this cube. So as long as you meet the time, your project meet the time, your project meet the cost, expected cost, the project meet the customer scope or production cost, cost or spec, meet the expected quality, then you are having success. Okay. So cost, time, quality, or project. So for this module, remember these three keywords: cost, time, quality. Cost, time, quality, or you can link quality to the what customer want, or your project specification or customer specification. This one, the cube is it can be 3D. So cost, time is like a one line, but one more dimension it can be quality. Means so it can be like expand to a three-dimensional things, right? Okay. So all this you read, okay. All this you read. Okay. So success factor, you are primary, you are secondary. This one you read, This one you read. But again, the question can ask you anything from the slides. So primary, again, primary is the three keywords that we mentioned: time, cost, quality. And these two quality can be linked to customer requirement. Okay, so these are primary. Then secondary is the elaboration from here. Elaboration from here. So you read lah. Okay, so this one, either you must remember. Secondary, you can choose any 3 or 4 from here. Okay, I don't expect you to memorize all, but choose any 4 from here. Yeah. Okay, the rest you read. Okay. So on the left, primary one, how you memorize is that from the perspective of the customers. On the left-hand side means what customer, if customer think that you are success, then you are success. So what does customer want? Time, cost, quality, and you meet the spec. Okay. Then secondary one is what happening inside the factory or inside the company, like how you audit the things. You have OSHA, you have safety, all these things, strategy. Okay. Okay. So this one is just elaboration. As long as the customer think that you are success, then you are success. Okay. So another one is the definition of these 3 words here, also different from the previous and the future. So project, program, success, this one you read lah. It's like a dictionary. So you go and read lah. So what is mean by project? What mean by program? What mean by success? Okay, this one you read. Okay, so again, this is the chart, a very qualitative chart. If we stay within the cube but miss the point, is it a failure? So the answer is no. Again, the success or not is based on what customer thinks. Even you fall outside the thing, customer say that, okay, it's okay, we can accept your projects, then you're also successful. Okay, so you know about success. Failure is just the opposite. Means you're not achieving the three things: time, cost, quality. Not meeting these three, means it's failure. Okay, then poor performance or actual failure also different, right? So different. So another wording that you learn today is called perceived failure. Perceived failure is two component: actual failure plus the planning failure. You combine, it becomes perceived failure. So this is a chart. We have four components or four phrases or four grade. One is none, not achieving anything. Actual, plan, achievable, perfection. Means perfect, 100% perfect. So you have 4 points, A, B, C, D, E, or you can see it as a grade, A, B, C, D, E. Of course, the greatest one is E. And then you try to focus on the range that we are focusing on. So your actual and plan, this is your perceived failure. And then this is the actual failure. So your actual is here, but your achievable is here. So your means that your company, let's say your company can make 10 cars per day. Achievable 10 cars per day. But your actual, maybe you produce 2 cars. So your differences between what you can produce 10 car and 2 car is here, actual failure. Okay. Then plan and achievable, this one is planning failure. Means you plan below your capacity. It's called planning failure. Okay. So perceive means it's an English word. So it means there's a difference between what you plan and what is your actual. Okay. Sum of actual and planning. In this case is I think it's a wording problem, but it's better you use this graph, this picture to illustrate what is perceived, what is actual, what is planning. Because why? The point can be moving. It depends on the scenario of the projects. Actual can be here. Actual can be moved to here. Okay. Plan can also move back or move to the front. Okay. So I'll give you another example. The top one is what you see just now. The bottom one also a new one, but you see the point is the plan become in front, achievable become the back. Okay, the differences. I mean the point still there, but the position is shifting. If you are the top one, it's called pessimistic planning. Means you are very conservative planning. At the bottom one, you are optimistic. Means what you plan, how you identify. Optimistic means you have a very positive, not positive, but you assume nothing happened, or you assume that the risk is low. Optimistic means you plan more than what you can achieve. You're optimistic. Okay. Pessimistic, you see, pessimistic is what you can achieve is here, but you plan below what you can achieve. Means you're very, very conservative or pessimistic. So these are the two useful diagrams if the question asks you what is the difference between pessimistic and optimistic plannings. Okay. In terms of components of failure, it means it asks you to draw these two diagrams. Okay. So this one, if you are in the pessimistic planning, your project management have planned a level accomplishments lower than achievable. You see this one? Your plan is below achievable. Okay. Given project circumstances and resources, your D. Okay. So actual accomplishment B, however, has less than planned. So your B is less than what you plan. So this is pessimistic, means you perform less than what you plan. Okay. The next one, you see there's a shift. This is over planning, means you are too optimistic. So too optimistic is that you plan to achieve more than what you can what you can produce. Like for example, one car your production can only produce your machine maximum also 24 hours. You run 2 shifts also you can produce like 10 car, but you plan you want to achieve 12 car or 15 cars. So this is over planning or optimistic planning. Okay. So of course the ideal case ideal case is what? Ideal case, the 3 point here, B, C, and D, they are the same or very, very near. Ideal case, point B, C, D, they are very, very near to each other. Because of course we cannot like what we plan, we achieve what is achievable, and actual is very, very hard unless you apply Lean Six Sigma, Lean project management. It means you have a very close monitoring, very, very close margin. For example, McDonald's or KFC nowadays, the achievable plan and actual, they are very, very close because they follow a standards, even down to how many grams of salt that you use or how many potato chips that you put inside the fryer, at what temperature, for how long. You manage until that level. Then you produce the same result every time. Means you come into the secret recipe kind of things already. Means a success formula. Okay. Okay. Oops. Okay. So today, most project practitioners focus on planning failure terms. So it is here. Project planning failure means you plan below what you can achieve. Means you don't understand what you're actually capable of. You plan below your capabilities. Because machine is expensive, you must make sure that the machine actually produce to the optimum. Let's say you buy a machine that can produce, like, for example, 10 cars. You want to make sure that you use until the machine cannot take it anymore. Then you cover the costs of buying that machine. That is a businessman mind. So if this term can be compressed or even eliminated, then the magnitude of the actual failure, should it occur, will be dismissed. So it means this one, you reduce C, you close it very, very near to what is achievable. It can be more, it can be to the left or to the right, but the gap, important is the gap. You want to close the gap of the planning failure here. Okay. So you are the project manager. Your part is planning part. So your part as a project manager, you need to communicate well because you are the future director, you're the future senior manager. You should able to understand what is happening in the industry. Okay. The rest you read. Okay. Okay, so of course there are many phases of failure. So this is quantitative failure. All these are you read lah. So quantitative failure is due to planning, scheduling, estimating, cost control, and then you keep changing your project objective. Means there's no end line of what the customer wants. You don't know what can you deliver or when you can close the projects. Right? So these are the quantitative failure. So if the question you see quantitative failure means they expect you to list out all these things in your answer. Okay. Then as you move on, so 1980s is this 5 point. Then as you move on, then it become quantitative become qualitative. Qualitative means a very abstract one. For example, what is quantitative and qualitative? Quantitative means you can measure one, things that you can measure. Like for example, Apple and all this. Apples is you can measure one. Qualitative means something that you can describe. You can only describe. For example, services. How you measure services? How you say, oh, this restaurant served me well and good and so on. Or this restaurant food is very good, very delicious. How you quantify delicious? Cannot. You can only quantify like, okay, it's sweet or sour, but you cannot like you cannot quantify the food is good or services is good, right? So the failure is due to poor morale, motivation, and HR. Okay. And productivity and so on. Okay. Means the qualitative one means you can observe a trend on the thing lah. As you read. Okay, there are many lah. There are many. 1990s, a lot of problems there. Okay. Then there's a new chart for here. Risk management component of failure. This one is performance versus time. So your actual performance is the bottom arrow here, and your customer expectation is above the actual performance. So there's a gap between actual and customer expectation. Okay. The question that can come out from this one is the question will ask you, what can contribute to the gap between actual performance and customer expectation? Okay. So it is two components. It can be poor risk management. It can be technical inabilities. Means your machine is not up to date. Your machine is old. And then there's no risk management. You don't have you don't calculate for example, if you are sick, you're the Intel, let's say Intel, you're producing semiconductor. So you know that computer is getting faster and faster, and if you do not develop new chips, you need new machine, and then you have a smaller like nanotechnologies kind of things. If you don't have that machine, you're not able to produce that chip because you are producing like 1 million piece per lot. So if you don't have that machine, then you're not able to produce that. Then also risk management means that sometimes, for example, Intel chip and all this, you need to predict, is there any available resources out there? Maybe inside the chip, maybe you use a certain gold element. So maybe you're sourcing from a certain country, for example, from India, from Himalaya areas. When will the resources will be exhausted? You need to do this prediction. For example, Petronas, they also doing some risk management. Although Petronas are heavily rely on this petroleum, but one day petroleum will be used up. So nowadays, petroleum also shift to a new business model. They start sustainable energies. So if you're from Sabah, Sarawak, you know there's a big project there. Okay. Okay, of course, you say So can poor risk management put at bottom? Can, but the main idea is these two will contribute to the gap lah. Okay, so if you improve your technical, you improve your risk management, you're going to close down the gap between actual performance and customer expectation. Okay, so this chart is actually more on the risk plannings. So if the question asks you about risk plannings, then most probably you need to rely on this chart lah. Okay. Okay, this one also you read. This one relationship between marketing and technical personnel. This one you read lah. There's a flow chart there. It's from technical marketing fit into objective, go to plannings, then financial risk assessment, project execution, schedule, it become plannings. So the rest you read lah. Okay. So there are a few categories of failure. I go very fast. This one you can read lah. So important, there's a few categories. Planning executive failure, they have more than I think 15 points here. Again, memorize maybe 3 or 4 points from here. I expect you to have all, but maybe 3 or 4 points. This one at the planning failure dimension, categories. Second one, governance stakeholders failure. So you have the planning failure, execution failure. That's the first category. Second category is governance or stakeholders failure. So they also have more, I think 10 points here. Memorize maybe 3 or 4 points from here. Okay. Next one, political failure. The third one, political failure also have a few points here. Memorize 3 or 4 from here. Okay. Okay. So there are 3 types of failure: political, governance, and planning execution failure. Okay. Okay. Success have a few degree of project success and failure. Here are 4 phrases. Either you complete success or complete failure. These are the 2 end, extreme end, right? Then in the middle one, you have partial success and partial failure. So you play with the amount of the criteria. Criteria is cost, time, and quality. You play with this one, and then the rest you read lah. Okay, so we have done so far on the success and failure definition of the so there are lots of things you can read and also prepare for your test and assessment. A lot of theory parts lah. Okay, another one. Maybe a little bit more, then we close it for today. This question come out also last semester. It's called state gate process. This one is also 15 marks kind of question. Basically, this is one of the presentation. What does it mean is that stage gate process means one station or one phase, and then to another phase and another phase. It's like you open the water channel, gate by gate, okay, gate by gate. So you have idea generation and so on. So this is the first illustration. What is stage gate process? From the name itself means one gate control one stage. You open the gate, you flow to the next stage. You open the gate, you flow to the next stage. Gate is a decision point. Gate is a decision point. Again, maybe you forget already. Decision have 4 types of decision. Very important as a project manager. You have 4 types of decision you need to make. First, proceed without changes. Second, proceed with changes. Third one, on hold. Wait for more information. Third one, cancel the project. So there are 4 types of decision you need to make. Right? Proceed without changes, project with changes. On hold, wait for more information, means go back, ask for more information. Then if the information doesn't looks good, the last resources is cancelled. Okay. The hardest decision is when you near to the more than 70% of the project, then you need to cancel. That is the hardest part. You need to convince the sponsor and stakeholders to let you to decide cancel the project. Okay. Now, when the question asks you about stage shapes process, what they expected is this diagram. It's this diagram. This diagram costs you maybe how many marks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 14 to 15 marks. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Means each one 2 marks. This one side, another 2 marks. Whole diagram 1 more marks. So it's about 15 marks. You draw one diagram, costs you 15 marks. Okay. Now, phrase test model, remember the 5 phrases: scoping, business case, development, testing, and launch. So this is the stages and phrases of the GATE models. Scoping means you go and meet the customers, decide the scope, the specification. Then you propose as a business cases. Then you develop the thing, you test the things, and you launch. The left-hand side and right-hand side actually the same thing. This is just an illustration. Gate means the first gate means first decision. After you do scope, you need to decide whether go or no go. You need to decide. So management must say okay. Then you open the gate. Then you go into business case. Business case, gate number 2, you need to make sure your business plan is okay. Business plan means proposal, everything. Once you have all the document, this gate will open, go to development. You start to have prototypes. This is more on engineering, more on prototype. You start to build your first model. After prototype you done, you test it. Then you need to test. You need to test. So after you testing, you gather information. You make sure, okay, this is very safe to launch. Then you go into final products. You launch it. Then you release it to the customers. Which one? Oh, this one. Is the same. I mean, the idea is the same. You see the stages. It's the same. If you draw this one, also I'll give you correct. Means you have phrases in the middle. Phrases, it can be. Then the first one is scoping. This one you see is scoping. You go into the first stage, scoping. Second one, business case, same. Business case. The third one, development, testing, launch, same. One is like this way, one is like that, go down like that. It's the same thing. Then left, right is just the gate and the decision making. Okay, first gate, second gate, third gate, and so on. First gate here, second gate, third gate, and here. Then what you need to do, or the decision point here, what you need to do. Okay, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So important is that you give us the phrase name. There are 5 phrases, and then what mean by the gate? Gate is a decision point. Gate 1, gate 2, gate 3, gate 4. Then what gate means you can open the gate. First one is management say okay. Second one, your business plan okay. Then the third one is prototype. You have a prototype that can run, can allow you to do testing. After you do testing, all the results looks good, you launch it as a final product. Okay. The rest you read. The rest you read. Okay. So what is stages? Stages is this one. All the colors things. Stages, they are group of activities. They're group of activities for the projects. Then stages is the cross-functional teams, right? So they managed by cross-functional teams. It can be R&D, it can finance, it can be law firms, and so on. Okay. So stage gate process, it later evolved into life cycle phrases. Gate is a decision point. Gate is a decision point. So you draw this diagram and then you explain what is gate. Gate is a decision point. Then you explain what is this phrases. Phrases is a group of activities. Even you don't need to elaborate what is this. You just mention stages is group of activities. Maybe you forget what is this, but you mention group of activities, I give you correct also. Okay. Even you don't write this one, I will also give you correct. Important is I want you to show your understanding. What mean by stages? Okay. Right, the rest is you read lah. Good project management usually no more than 6 gate, means the process must be as short as you can because it take times. When you have more gates, mean it take more times. Okay, because project management success based on or failure based on time, cost, and quality. Time, cost, and quality, these three components. Okay, the rest you read. The checklist, always you have a checklist, right? So this one you read lah. This one you read. So one rules in the project management when you are using stage gate process, you yourself as a project manager, you cannot be the gatekeepers. You cannot sit here and make decision. Your role is to communicate with everyone, make sure all the function lines manager, they function accordingly, deliver result on time. Then that is your job. Okay, you cannot function as a gatekeepers. Okay, so this one you read lah. So gatekeepers are who? Gatekeepers, they are individuals, for example, sponsor of the projects or group of individual empowered by the senior management, maybe the senior GM and all this, right? Or a certain specialist that look after the certain things, right? So empowered to enforce structured decision-making process. So also there's a key players for the decision makings. One criteria for gatekeepers, they must willing to make decision. If they don't make decision, the phrases will stop there and wait for decision. It cannot proceed further. The rest you read lah. So okay, these are the 4 decisions that are very important as a project manager. You're actually waiting for the decision from the gatekeepers. These 4 decisions. Proceed without changes or original. Proceed with revise or changes. Delay and wait for information or cancel the projects. Okay. Sponsors, they are the one who can make final decision. Okay. 3 benefit, this one. So these are the factor how or why stage of phrase gate models fail. All these are. These are the factor where this model can fail. These 4. Go and read. I think we stop here. Okay, next lecture we go look at life cycle. Life cycle. Okay, see you guys tomorrow. Go to. Yes. Either today or tomorrow.